Hello everyone, and welcome to our Momen tutorial on best practices for login and registration. In this video, we'll cover how to build a complete user authentication system. Momen supports three main types of login. First, username and password. Second, email and verification code. Third, single sign-on or SSO. Today we're going to focus on building the two most common flows, username and password, and email with the verification code. We'll be exploring some key techniques, including validating user inputs to check for empty fields, using the conditional view to switch between login and sign-up forms, and creating a dynamic countdown timer for sending verification codes. Alright, let's dive in. The first thing we need is a dedicated page for login and sign-up forms. In the Pages panel on the left, we create a new page and name it Login Sign-up. We also need a page to redirect users to after they successfully log in. So we create another page and call it Login Success. Let's start with the classic username and password method. Our goal is to have both the login and sign-up forms on the same page. We can easily achieve this using the conditional view. We drag a conditional view onto the canvas. Now, let's configure the cases. In the panel on the right, we'll open the configuration. We rename the case 0 to login and add a new case named signup. Now we can build our login interface inside the login case. First, we'll add the title and some input fields. We will use a view container to group the username label and its input field. A good practice here is to give your components descriptive names. We'll name this input login username text input. Now, for validation, we want to show a required message if the user tries to log in with an empty field. To do this, we'll add another conditional view right below the input. Its first case, which we will name input is null, will only be visible if the username input is empty. The second case, we call it always, will be the default and will have its height set to 0 so it's invisible. Now I'll just duplicate this group for our password field. We'll update the labels and names, and importantly, we'll enable the password toggle on the text input to make sure the characters are hidden when the user types. Next, we add our login button. We go to the action type and add a user action for username login. We will bind the username and password fields to the corresponding inputs from our form. On success, we'll navigate to our login success page. On failure, we'll show a quick toast message saying login failed. We also need to add a text link below it. It says, "Don't have account yet, sign up now." For the sign up now link, the action is simpler. We use the switch view case action to change our main conditional view to the sign up case. Now for the sign up form, a quick way to build this is to copy all the components from a login case and paste them into the sign up case. From there, we just need to make a few changes. We'll update the title to sign up, duplicate the password field to create a confirmed password field, and make sure all our new input components have unique names. Since we now have a confirmed password input fields, we need to add a new case for the message below. We will name this case "Don't Match." And the condition will be the password input doesn't equal to the confirm password input. And if they're not equal, we will show an error toast. It says that the password did not match. For the sign up button, we also need to add conditionals. So if the password don't match, we will show an error toast. If they do match, we will proceed with the username register action. Same as before, we need to bind the username and the password fields to the corresponding inputs. On success, we will navigate to our login success page. On failure, we will show a quick toast message. Finally, we will update the text link at the bottom to say, already have an account, log in, and set its action to switch the view back to the login case. Alright, now let's move on to the email and verification code flow. We can build on what we've already done. We'll duplicate our page and rename it Email Login Signup. Inside this new page, we'll update the fields. Email will replace username and verification code will replace password. Now we need to configure a countdown timer for our verification code. This prevents users from repeatedly requesting code. First, we create a page variable to store our timer's value. We'll call it countdown login. And its type is number, and we will give it a default value of 60. Next, in the page's action type, we will add a scheduled job, and we will name it login, and set it to trigger every 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. Inside this schedule job, we will add a conditional action. If the countdown login variable is less than or equal to 0, the countdown is finished. We will post the job, reset the variable back to 60. Otherwise, if the countdown is processing, we will simply subtract 1 from the countdown login variable. Back on our canvas, we need to add a button to send the code. We'll place it inside the new conditional view with 2 cases. One to show the send verification code button, and another to show the countdown timer. Now we adjust the size of the conditional view. And place button in each case. When user clicks send verification code, we'll trigger 3 actions. First, send the verification code via email for login. Second, start our login schedule job. And second, switch the view to display the countdown timer. The countdown display is also a button, but it will be bound to our countdown login page variable. We also need to add a switch case view in the page action here to make sure that this button gets switched to the send verification code again. And for the countdown login button, we can also add the toast that's saying, please click this button later. For the login button, we will use the email login action and bind the email password inputs. And just like before, we'll add success and failure actions to guide the user. And now let's move on to our sign-up case. We can copy and paste the verification code part in our duplicated sign-up case. And also don't forget to rename all the fields and the component names. We also need to configure the countdown timer for our sign-up case, so we create another page variable to store the value. And we call it countdown sign-up. The type will be number, and the default value will be 60. And then we add another schedule job on the page, name it sign up. Set the interval to 1000 milliseconds. Same as before, we'll add the conditional action inside the schedule job for finished and processing. Back to our send verification code button. We need to change the type to register, and the schedule job target will be sign up. And for the countdown timers button, we need to change the binded variable to countdown sign up variable. For the sign up action, we need to keep the password don't match button. And we need to change the second action to email register. And we bind the email password verification code to the corresponding input. And like before, we add success and failure actions to guide the user. And that's a wrap. With these steps, you can build a complete and professional user authentication system in Momen. Thanks for watching.